Hello, dear viewers. My name is Dr. Mohmad Pandit, Assistant Professor at the Department of English, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today, in this lecture, I would like to deliberate on Precis writing. Here, we will see what's Precis writing and how important is Precis writing, and at the end, we will do what are the different tips for writing a Precis. First of all, we would like to start with the definition. This word Precis, it's derived from a Latin French word which means pruned out or cut down statement or cut short. As I told you that it's derived from a French word which means pruned or which means cut down statement or cut short. That is to put something in nutshell or just cut short something. To make it more explicit, this Precis means a concise summary or a miniature version of a passage, which includes all essential points, mood and tone of the author. Like here, it's a concise summary. It's a brief summary. Or you can say it's a miniature version of a passage or any comprehension or any written document. It's a miniature version of a larger or the bigger document, which includes all the essential points. That means the important points. And not only important points, in fact, it should convey the mood, it should convey the tone of the original passage. In other words, if we try to make it more simple, it means just the gist of a comprehension or passage. It's this Precis just like a gist of any comprehension or passage, or for that matter, it can be an essay. Or in other words, or we can say it's the essence or the pith of paragraph. It's the essence or pith of a paragraph or essay. Now, to make it more explicit, it is an exercise in concentration, comprehension, and condensation. Here, what we do, we just concentrate on the written document, and that written document can be a passage, it can be an essay, or it can be any comprehension. And the second important point is, we try to understand the original passage, we try to understand the original document, and after that, we just start condensation. That means we just write the main points of the original document, and we just delete or neglect the unimportant things which are irrelevant or which are not so important. But in this whole process, we should not mar the very essence of the original passage. In order to make a summary of an article, a speech or a story, one has to read it carefully and grasp its meaning. And in the process of this Precis writing, what we do, we try to read the original passage, we try to read it line by line in order to understand, in order to grasp the main essence, the main soul, or we can say the main theme or the motive of the original passage. And thereafter, what we do, we just prune things, we just drop them on important things and include only the important points, essential points, or the relevant points. And it is generally expected that the summary could be 1/3 of the length of the passage. And here, I want to make it clear that there's no hard and fast rule regarding the length of the passage. But there's a common thing that we often say that this Precis must be the 1/3 of the original passage. Now, here in the Precis writing, grasp the material and get rid of all the irrelevant and unnecessary or non-essential parts. And thereafter put the rest of the sentences together in a very concise manner or in a very brief manner. The first of all, it's very important when you are going to attempt to write a précis. It's very important to understand the material, grasp the material, and thereafter get rid of irrelevant, unnecessary things or the digressions. And then digression can be in any form. And after that, just drop these unnecessary things, delete these unnecessary things, and only include the important points and write those important points in a nutshell, in a brief manner. But one thing you need to keep in mind, the concise summary must be the same story, told clearly and readably in a very much condensed form. Here it's very important. When we draw certain sentences from the original passage, or when we just delete certain points or sentence or parts from the original passage, we should keep this fact in mind that we should not, in this whole process, we should not lost the very essence of the original passage. It should carry our précis, it should carry the mood, it should carry the very mood, it should carry the very essence of the original passage. It should not be irrelevant. Now, the important point is why précis? Why is it important? The first and foremost thing is that this précis trains the writer to read passage carefully with concentration. You can say that this auto précis writing, it develops concentration in any person, or for that matter in any reader. In fact, it trains the reader how to read a passage, because the reader is always in search of important things. Therefore, while in the process of précis writing, the reader actually learns how to concentrate, how to select how to select the important points from the original passage. In other words, we can say that he knows through the précis writing, he knows the art of reading. And the second important point is help students to disseminate facts or essential information from non-essential information. That's very important point. Here, the précis writing, it teaches you how to disseminate important information from non-important or the unimportant information. Here, it helps students to disseminate essential information from non-essential information or important information from unimportant information. And the next one is it helps to construct sentence in a logical order. This précis writing, it helps you to construct sentences, and that too in a logical order. First and the foremost thing is that it helps you uh, to learn how to construct a sentence. Not only this, in fact, along with this, it teaches us how to put those sentences in a logical order. And the next one is it helps in expressing thoughts concisely, effectively, and clearly by choosing words carefully. And this is a very important point that here, this précis writing, it teaches us to express our thoughts concisely, effectively, and clearly by choosing the words carefully. Here, we become very much selective about the words. And the next one is it provides structure, clarity to how you approach writing, speaking, or even thinking. And this, it's very important. In fact, it provides clarity in our thought. It provides clarity in our writings, this précis writing. And the next one is it's useful for professionals who have to sit through long meetings or read lengthy documents. For example, journalists, for example, lawyers, or for example, when you are told to summarize a meeting, or when you are told to just um, give us the gist of any research paper, at that time it becomes very fruitful. That's why it's very important for professionals who have to sit through long meetings or read lengthy documents. And the next one is it helps to improve concentration, focus, and ability to use vocabulary with care. Here, it develops your concentration, it develops your focus, and it develops your ability to use vocabulary in a real or a good sense. And the next one is it involves efficient time management. In this process of Precis writing, you will learn how to manage time. Because here, we are supposed to put maximum information in minimum words. And the next one is the Precis writing enhances vocabulary, grammar, and syntactical skills. Here, it will develop your vocabulary, it will develop your grammar, or it will develop your syntax, that means the sentence structure. It will teach you how to frame a sentence, how to construct a sentence. And now the next important point is the characteristics of good Precis. What are the different characteristics of good Precis? And the first and the foremost thing is a good Precis should contain all the essential ideas in the original passage, omitting non-essential details. And that non-essential details can be examples, it can be illustrations, it can be comparisons, it can be metaphors, or it can be similes. But to remember, here the good Precis, what are the vast quality of a good Precis is that it should contain all the essential information originally found in the first passage or the original passage. At the same time, here a good Precis, it must have two things, the two most important things. One is it should carry all the good ideas or important ideas or the essential ideas of the original passage. At the same time, it should drop, it should delete, it should neglect unessential import or non-essential things. And one more thing, the best example of the good example of Precis writing is that we should drop illustrations, examples, comparisons, metaphors, or similes. For example, sometimes author gives these examples or illustrations so as to prove his point of view or so as to explain his point of view. While writing a Precis, we can drop those examples, we can drop those illustrations, we can drop those explanations. There's no need to write them. That's a good quality of Precis. But while dropping these things, we should not lost the essence of original passage. And the next one is the idea should be in the same order as in the original passage. There should there should be no difference of ideas. That means the original passage, it should not be different from your Precis, or your Precis should not different from the original passage. That means both should carry the one idea, both should carry the single idea. Therefore, in other words, it means that we should maintain the continuity of idea. The first idea, the main idea of the original passage, we should carry that idea in our Precis. And the next one is one should not add anything that the original passage does not contain. That means here we can't give the extra information, we can't express our own opinions, we can't add anything to the original passage. We can't add extra information. No. In fact, we have to remain confined to the original passage. And the next one is there's no need to comment on the original matter either. And here we can't give a personal view. We can't comment on the original point of view or the main idea of the original passage. And the next one is the language. It should be clear, it should be brief and simple. At the same time, it should maintain the style and the spirit of the original. That's very important. In Precis writing, your language must be simple, it must be clear, it must be lucid. Don't use ambiguous words. You should always move away from ambiguity. That means your words must be clear, it must be lucid, it must be simple. At the same time, we should maintain the mood and tone of the original passage. And the next one is a Precis should be written in indirect speech. That's the characteristic of good Precis. And the most important point is, while writing this Precis, you should write it in your own words. Don't take words from the original passage. Don't just imitate or copy words or sentences from the original passage. No, you have to write it in your own words. And the next one is the limit set for a Precis is 1/3 in length of the original. And here, there's no hard and fast rule. It can be more, it can be less, but it should carry all the essential elements of the original passage. And the next one is it must have a logical order and be well knit and well connected. That means it should appear as a whole. It should appear as a whole or holistic. It should not appear like a part of something. No, it should carry each and everything. It should appear self-sufficient. Now, the next important point is the techniques of Precis writing. What are the different techniques of Precis writing? There are three techniques. Techniques which are very important for writing a Precis. One is the reading, and the second one is writing, and the third one is revision. We will take these things one by one. And the first and the foremost is the reading. And first, while attempting, when you try to attempt to write a Precis, first of all, read the original passage or original document carefully with full concentration. And as you read, find out the subject or the theme of the passage and what is said about the subject. That's very important. While writing a Precis, you should read original passage carefully. You should look for the motive. You should look for the theme of the original passage. You should see what the original passage, what is the message, important message of the original passage, what is the motive, what is the theme of the original passage. And it means, in other words, we can say it's not just a reading, it's a reading at the same time, it's understanding the content. And next one is in the reading, find out the lead or the topic sentence, for it will help you to see the subject clearly and think of the title. That's very important. While reading, you should look for certain things. First of all, you will look for the topic sentence. That means the main sentence of a para or a passage for that matter. Because this passage, this topic sentence, it will lead you to the subject matter. It will tell you about the subject matter. And when you, for example, when you find the meaning of topic sentence, you will be in a position to look or to find or to decipher or to decode the theme or the motive of this original passage. And the second important point is, after getting the main motive or the theme of the passage, just choose a title. And that title must be apt and appropriate. It should be relevant. It should be brief, but at the same time, relevant, to the point. In fact, this title, it should explain all of your Precis. And in fact, everything should come from this title. And the next one is further reading. After one reading, you can do the second reading in order to understand each and everything. Make sure that details of passage are also understood. That means that's very important. The comprehension is very important. It's not just the reading. It's not reading for the sake of reading. Here you have to understand the content, subject matter. You have to understand the motive, theme of the original passage. Then you can proceed that passage. Reading is followed by selection of essential ideas or points. After second reading, and there can be a third reading, it can be fourth reading, but reading it's followed by the selection of essential points. Just select the essential points and jot down those essential points. And here, uh, it's followed by writing. You should first prepare a draft of essay, keeping in mind the need to reduce the original text to the one-third of its length. Yes, you can jot down those important points. You can write down those important points. And remember here, you should take care of the length. This length, it should be one-third of the original passage. The main thoughts or the opinions and the conclusions arrived at should figure in the rough draft. In the rough draft, it should carry the main thoughts, the main ideas or opinions or the conclusion arrived at. These things should figure out in the rough draft. Your rough draft, of course, in the rough draft, everything is in a very haphazard manner. But it should, at least it should convey the main idea, the essential idea, or it should convey the essential opinions or the conclusions of the original passage. Unimportant things like the names of people and places and dates should not figure in it. That means the irrelevant information, you can drop that irrelevant information. There's no need to put in this irrelevant or non-essential information in this rough draft. And the first draft may be too long or that it may sound jerky. Shorten it necessary and write out a careful second draft. Your first draft can be lengthy. It can carry so many sentences. Yes, you can draft it again. And if you find certain sentences or certain words, they are unimportant, they're not necessary for my pressy, drop those points and prepare a second draft carefully. Remember that a pressy is connected whole and that it should read smoothly and continuously. And your pressy, it should have a logical order. It should appear as a whole. It should not appear as a part. That means it should be holistic. It should appear whole. That means the organic whole. And it should have a coherence. That means it should have a logical order. And then the last one is the revision. When you have made your second final draft carefully, revise it before writing out the fair copy. Look for many mistakes or silly pen grammar or spelling and character. The revision, that's very important. We call it proofreading also. Here you can see the grammatical mistakes, you can see the spelling mistakes, and here you can check if anything unimportant is there. You can drop that thing. And don't forget to give your pressy a title here. That's simply a reminder. And the next one is the proofread. That means go through the proofreading. If you find there's some mistakes, it can be in grammar, it can be in spelling, correct these things. And here we have the do's of presses. Start with the main ideas itself for the reader can quickly grasp the plot of the pressy. And when you attempt to write a pressy, start with the main idea so that the reader can get the whole idea. And the second one is remember that the reader will know what your pressy should contain. Hence, write in an original flow of the writer. The message of pressy should be clear. That means here your pressy, it must be organic. It must carry the original message, original language. That no need to copy from the original passage. Here you have to write it in your own words. And here you can include facts, methods, anything that you find very important in the original passage. And the next important point, that means the Precis writing does, identify all unimportant information in passage and remove them from your passage. Remove the unnecessary information. Next one is, it's essential to mention the purpose of writing the Precis. You should know the purpose of writing the message. And retain the key words and keep a check on the word count. Here it's very important. Retain the keywords, because the keywords, they will guide you, they will act as a connecting dots in the process of writing a Precis. And one more thing, check out the word count. Any historical fact should be mentioned in the past sentence. If past tense, if there's some historical event, you can mention it in the past tense. It depends upon the tense of the original passage. Refrain from writing your own opinions, criticisms, and remarks about the passage in the Precis. Here, you can't give your own point of view or opinion or criticism or any remark. Never insert any fact taken from the internet. Use only facts given in the passage. Whatever there is in the passage, you have to write that, but in few words. Never ask questions in Precis. In case it is imperative, but it's in the form of a sentence. Don't There's no need to write or raise questions in Precis, because in Precis you are giving the gist of the original passage. Therefore, there's no need to rise or no need to mention any question, because this question, it will give rise to another debate. It will give rise to more things. Use full forms and do not use abbreviations or short forms in Precis. And what's the don'ts? Do not spin around the same content, and writing flow should not be jerky. Don't revolve on the same point, okay? And your writing, it should not be jerky. It should be smooth. It should be lucid and clear. Ensure the Precis is not too long, as it's summary, as it should be short and crisp. And here, your Precis, it should not be too long. It should not appear that it's a full-fledged summary. Don't add unnecessary information or on your own or your own point of view in Precis writing. It was all about the Precis writing. Hope you have understood it. We will meet in another video with another topic. Till then, goodbye.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.